Hey guys, Ben here, and today we're going to talk about how to track survey performance for your service desk or for any other department in your organization. One of the most important things about the survey process is reporting. Without valuable feedback that leads to continuous improvement, having a survey is basically pointless. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a survey for your service desk, how to create detailed reports to monitor performance and address any issues you may uncover, and finally, how to schedule them for consistent oversight that will make your managers happy and keep them up to date on how their team's doing. And by the end of this, you will have created 2 detailed comprehensive reports for your service desk. Here's one. It's going to track scores for each analyst, as well as another one for tracking bad surveys or surveys with comments on them. That way you can respond quickly to frustrated end users. So let's get started. When you go into your instance, whether it's your PDI or your work, ServiceNow platform, you should have some out-of-the-box surveys that are already pre-installed. So we're going to go to those right now. And the one we're going to work on today is the Service Desk Satisfaction Survey. And this is the record here. This is the survey definition. So starting off, if you don't have this, I'll show you how to create a survey. I actually customize this a little more in depth just because it made it more sense to me for reporting. And I'll show you how to do that, which is you're going to go to Survey Designer, which I've already opened up here. And this is my Service Desk Satisfaction Survey. I got 4 numeric value questions, numeric scale questions that go from 0 to 6, as well as a text field for any other comments they may have to get more feedback. Now, one important thing is I used numbers here, 0 through 6, to rank the overall performance. And I believe ServiceNow defaults when you first open the survey, it will show you like text fields like good, bad, or great. The problem with that is it's hard to really report on that, because if you want to see the average score by one of your agents, you can't really average out good and bad, right? It's their text fields. So I like the numbers because it's easier to manipulate the data, to look at the average score between each agent, and just, it makes sense to me. So in the Survey Designer, you can add different controls. You have configuration where you can customize the text, and then finally availability for, who can access the survey. Now we're going to go into the survey definition here, and the first thing you want to make sure you have is a metric category. This is how you categorize the survey. Next up, we have trigger conditions. Now this is when the survey is sent out. I have it sent out on the incident table, and you can see here, so the table is based on the incident table. The user field is caller. This is who receives the survey. And then the conditions is it's sent out when the incident state is set to resolved, and the assignment group is service desk. Now you may notice these weird related fields here, and they look kind of funky, but this was the earlier solution for reporting on surveys. And what these do is this actually populates data from the incident table to the survey record. So I can take the assignment group, resolved by, problem, these fields on the incident table, and put them on the survey record. And the reason why this is important is because unfortunately, surveys are not stored like a normal record. They're actually stored as a document reference, so you can't really dot walk easy and get information from the incident table. And I'll kind of show you what that looks like in a second. Let's go back to the survey. So we have our survey instances. This is just the surveys that were sent out. And you can see here, this is the survey itself. Let's open one just to take a peek at it. So you can see here, here's the metric, the question, the value. And you may notice that the any other comments is 0. So something to keep in mind is that these still do get a value. So when you're reporting, you'll just want to make sure you consider that. When you create a survey, or when it's completed, it gets stored in a few different spots. The first is metric results. So this is basically each question and just the information from the survey. So this breaks down the question choices. Now let's move over to assessment instances. Now this table contains each survey, and you can see where those related records we spoke about earlier came in handy. So these columns here were the fields that we populated in the trigger condition in the Survey Designer. And we selected a few different fields that would be carried over from the task table into the survey record. So previously, if you wanted to report on surveys, since you couldn't dot walk, we would use these fields instead. But it's just not very clean. Luckily for us though, in Geneva, ServiceNow created a brand new view called Task Assessment Detail, and I'm going to show you that right now. Now this will be the table, or this is the view that we will be building our reports on. And this allows us to dot walk on columns from the metric type, assessment instance, the task table, and metric results, which gives us about 200 columns or 200 fields that we can access to further manipulate a report and just get more data and make it more customized to what we're looking for, just so we can help leadership make better decisions on the survey data. So to build a report, we're going to go to data visualization. So these are the reports that I created. The first one we'll look at is the service desk satisfaction scores by analyst. And the goal of this is to basically monitor all of your service desk agents and just see their overall survey scores and look at an average per week. 5 agents. This is basically an average of all the service scores they have received. So for the report type, we got a vertical bar. Data sources, this is where you select the table. As I mentioned earlier, the task assessment detail is what we want to use to create the report. And I have some conditions here to help refine the information. So the first one is going to be metric category. We're going to use service desk satisfaction survey. Taken on, the survey was taken on this week. For this, I would encourage you to do taken on last week because we're going to be scheduling these later in this video. And I send mine out on Monday morning, so that way at the start of the week, the managers can review the surveys from the previous week and take any actions they need to. For this video, I'm going to use this week because all my data was created this week, just so you can visualize this. Assignment group is service desk, and finally, we're going to filter out the any comments question because we are looking at scores. We don't want to see comments. That's going to mess up our data. And as you can see here, any other comments is given a value of 0. So that would mess up our data. One thing too that you should consider is in this survey designer, I actually named the any other comments control. I named it, I added a little tag of service desk survey at the end of it. And the reason I added this was because in many platforms, you may have a lot of instances where you're using this string, this question of any other comments you'd like us to know or any additional information. And as you search for it, you could have 500 or 100 different variations of this. So I added this at the end just to make it easier to find in the report. The end user would not see this. This is just in the back end, so don't worry too much about having this extra little tag. But yeah, here's the report. For the columns, I have instance, task, assigned to, question, response, assigned to again, and taken on. The assigned to, this one is going to be from the task table, and this is going to be from the metric results or the survey. So we're going to apply this here. For the metric, we're going to aggregate the data. We're going to look at an average of survey scores. So you can see this, do scaled value. And this shows an average of all the scores based on the person's name. And this is because we are grouping it by the assigned to person. So as I've mentioned before, you want to do assigned to based on the task table, task assigned to, not based on the assessment instance. So cool, there you have it. This is basically the report. Just one last thing to kind of touch base on is I did add a legend. So this is a legend right here and tells us the average score. What I found is that this data label right here, although it looks nice, it does not populate in the email. So when you schedule this report out to send to your manager or to leadership, this does not come through for some reason in the email or the PDF. So I'm adding in this legend here so that way they have the information of what each service desk agent received as their average score for the week. So this is the first report. Let's get into the next one. Now that one monitors performance. This one is going to basically check for bad surveys, and it's called the Service Desk Satisfaction Survey Watch List. So it's surveys to keep an eye on. We're using a list visualization type. The data source, we're going to use the task assessment detail once again. And I have the same columns more or less. So we got the same assigned to, question, response. For the conditions, we have virtually the same. We got metric type, taken on, assignment group. Now for the actual value, we're going to do less than or is 4. That way we can keep an eye on any survey that was at a 4 out of 6 or lower. I think if it's a 5 or above, it's probably a good survey. Not too much value in seeing that, but if it's lower than a 4 or lower, it's probably something we should keep an eye on, as well as a response that's not empty. Now, the reason for this is so we can see anytime there's comments. In case somebody leaves a survey or fills out a survey and gives us 5s and they leave a comment, we still want to see that comment in case maybe they mention something that we can improve on. So we're going to go to apply here. We're going to group it by the assessment instance number, so we can group it by the actual survey itself so they're organized. And this is a quite helpful survey. You can see comments. So this person was they were upset that Eric was rude to them. This one has a good response, but this is nice because this way you can kind of keep track of what people are saying. And if you're getting a lot of good feedback and a lot of good comments for one of your service desk analysts, then that's good. You want to keep track of that and let them know that, hey, you're doing good. You're getting a lot of good feedback. So just some good more information for you to monitor. So this is basically it for the Service Desk Survey Watch List weekly. What we're going to do next is we want to schedule this out. So we want to create a recurring email. And to do that, we'll go to Schedule. And I've already created one previously, so I'll show you that one I made. So the cool thing about data visualization is you can actually make an email. You can actually make an email with multiple reports. Previously, it could only be one report at a time per email, but now we can add both the watch list and the average scores reports. I have them set as PDFs. I have them sent weekly every Monday at 1 in the morning. So as I mentioned before, you'd probably want to have these survey filter the reports based on surveys taken on last week if you were going to select Monday at 1. Otherwise, you wouldn't get much information because it would just be for that day. You can also do omit if no records. So if you don't want to send a email out, if there's no information, there's no records, that's something you can also add as well. Now, one thing I've found is a lot of organizations will send out tons of surveys each month, each day, each week. But, even an organization that sends out thousands of surveys may only get one a month, maybe one a quarter or a couple a month that actually have completed filled out surveys. So if you don't have a lot of information or a lot of data when you create this, it's not a problem at all. This is just more so to have some sort of oversight on these survey scores. For the recipients, I chose the manager of the service desk group. This is their email. This is the PDI. This is like the email from my PDI. So don't use this. Use your own organization's email. And here's the PDFs. Here's my little body that I wrote. And we're going to send this out. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. So we're going to go to Outbox next. And you can see I've got a bunch of these just kind of testing. Here is going to be the email. And we're going to open both these, which I've already downloaded here. And you can see here we've got our watch list, which is right here. So we got the email, come in nice and clean. You can see all the words, all the text. And if there's an issue, so we can see here like, oh, they're rude, we can, the manager can easily copy and paste the incident number or the survey instance and find out more information on what this ticket entailed. We also have the average survey score as well. So like I mentioned before, the data table did not populate for some reason, but at least we do have this legend here so we can get an idea of where everyone's ranking is at. So that's basically it, guys. These are 2 reports. I've had great luck with these. I've had a lot of positive feedback from our service desk leadership. And if you'd like to, what I'd recommend as well, just for further customization and further value add, is to create a monthly one as well, or even a quarterly, depending on how many surveys you get. So you could do, basically both these surveys once a week, once a month. Yeah, that's basically it. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to leave a comment down below. Thanks so much for the support, and I will see you guys next video.